Cultural news, information, interviews, in-depth weather, and more. It's Terry Henney and his Farm Show on 100.5 and 790 News Radio WSGW and online WSGW.com.
A mostly sunny good morning to you. I hope your day is going well for you, wherever you might be. I say mostly sunny. It was a little bit hazy this morning, from what I understand. Fires not so much in northern Michigan as it is over in Nova Scotia. The reason why we had seen the hazy conditions, cloudy conditions that we were experiencing a little bit earlier. Temperatures, for the most part, starting off pretty close to average for this time of the year. Looks as though we're going to be pretty much average for the next day or so, temperature-wise here. Terry Henney at Radio Center, along with Jonathan Dent. John, you had a nice weekend?
Oh, yes. And when I was driving in this morning, there was some wet stuff falling from the sky.
You know, at first, I thought it was bugs hitting the windshield. Not that I wasn't paying attention, but I'm like, time, like, what the? And I look up, and it was raindrops.
Yeah.
And
not
I
a
said,
lot.
Now, do I want to spook this by running the windshield wiper, or don't I? And then I figured, no, I better not, because all of the crap that's on the windshield to start with, because it's been so dry, and to get about 4 or 5 drops, well, I'd have a real smeary mess. So just no, I'll tough it out. Well, I didn't have to worry about too much. I think it was 12 drops altogether.
I've had quite a bit. I was turning on the windshield wipers. It was
really.
It wasn't torrential by any means, but it was enough that, hey, it was worth it.
It was definitely worth it.
It was pretty nice.
We could stand a few more like that. And there is a little light at the end of the tunnel. We'll talk about that in just a second. But right now, what do we have on the thermometer?
Well, right now out at the airport, partly sunny skies, 70 degrees. Downtown Midland's got cloudy skies with 66. Right here at Radio Center, we've got a little bit more sun with 72 degrees. Winds out of the west at 8 miles per hour. Barometric pressure is falling. Right now it's at 30.08.
Just to give you an idea how goofy this weather is, the hot spot in the state right now is Iron Mountain.
Yep.
At 75. And then Copper Harbor's 54. You got Munising 58, Sawyer-Gwinn 61, Menominee 73, Sault Ste. Marie 72. You know, those guys are all warmer than we are right now. Traverse City a little bit on the cool side. Well, no, not really. It's Pellston. No, Rogers City and Harbor Springs. Those are the ones that I was looking at in the mid 60s up there. By the time the day is all done, how warm are we going to get? Well, we should hit 80 degrees as we go through the day today.
Hey.
So a little bit warmer. Average for this time of the year is 76, so we'll be warmer. Our low tonight should be right around 64. So looking again for an above average day. But then we start to settle down just a little bit. Tomorrow, 74, Wednesday, 73, Thursday, 75. So again, pretty close to normal. And upper 70s as we move into Friday. Then low 80s on Saturday. And it looks as though I think we're going to hit the 68 degree mark on Sunday. So it shouldn't be too bad. I know there were a few weather forecasters out there. We're talking 64 for a high on Sunday, this coming Sunday.
That'd be cooling down quite a bit.
That would be cooling down quite. Matter of fact, a year ago today, our high was 63.
Really?
And our low was 53. So it's not unusual to have that kind of weather, but we actually had a little bit of rain a year ago today, not 1/10 of an inch, but we had some. For the month of June, we had just under 2/10 of an inch of rain so far a year ago. Obviously, we're not looking at anything so far here in June. We should, on average, pick up at least 3 1/4 inches of rain in the month. That's normal. So hopefully as we approach the weekend, and I'm looking at Saturday afternoon and Sunday, with the passage of that next front, It does appear as though the high pressure that's been influencing our weather here, keeping us on the real warm side, is breaking down. It's not moving away, it's just breaking down. So that's going to give us a little more systematic movement of systems from the west to the east. And it's also going to give us a little bit better chance of opening up that Gulf of Mexico air. So along with the breaking down of the high, we're going to see a little bit more humidity, and maybe that will generate some shower activity as we move into at least the second half of the weekend. So we'll just have to see how that all works. But a few drops of rain here and there, that's going to be about it. Today, tonight, not so much the case tomorrow. Plenty of sun on Wednesday. Looks like plenty of sun on Thursday. A few more clouds around on Friday. And again, as we said before, we're looking at temperatures pretty close to average for this time of the year to take us all the way through now, about the 18th of the month. So we're not going to be dramatically above, and we're not going to be bone-chilling cold. It's going to be pretty close. Unfortunately, the long-range outlook for precipitation is slightly below normal. So that's a lot better than what we had been seeing, where we were just flat out looking at nothing for several days in a row. Record high in the state is 96, set back in 1934. And 1934 is kind of an interesting year because the 1930s in June, there were 8 days of record high temperatures in the decade of the 30s. 3 of them were in 1934, 4 record high days in 1933, and 1 record high day in 1938. And the driest June ever was the drought year of 1988. We had 0.6 of an inch of rain for the whole month back then. So it is going to be kind of interesting to see how things shape up. Again, as I mentioned before, low pressure system with the counterclockwise air, that's what's giving us the northeast wind. And that's also what's giving us the hazy conditions with now they've got the fires on the east side of Canada. They still do have the west side fires, but they're under control now, according to them. And I guess northern Michigan, we're under control there as far as any fire problems around the Grayling area. But again, we have to emphasize red flag. Boy, don't go out there making a campfire. That's all there is to it. And I don't know if it's unofficial or official, but from what I understand, campfire had something to do with that fire up in the Grayling area.
Really? Yeah. I hadn't heard any new information on that.
Yeah, not good. Not good at all.
No.
Base 50 growing degrees. While we're on the subject of the weather, real quick, very interesting. Out of all of our reporting stations, Alma and let me see, Fairgrove and Frankenmuth are the only locations in our listening area that have higher base 50 growing degrees this year. All the other locations are under what we were a year ago, which again is hard to believe when you factor in all these upper 80s and low 90s. But again, when you take a look at plants will only take so warm a temperatures, and then they just shut their systems down.
Mm-hmm.
And as a result, that's the reason why the base 50 growing degrees have the growing degree days are actually lower this year than what they have been in years past.
That's interesting.
So, yeah, very interesting. More on the weather as we go through the broadcast. Standing by.
We're going to be talking with Gary Kaufman from Star of the West. He'll start us off on our market report today. Then we'll head over to Oppenheimer and talk with Doug Klein. All of that's ahead. But first, the weather report today brought to you by the folks at Nutrien Ag Solutions.
Nutrien Ag Solutions has the local expertise to recommend the corn, soybean, and other seed products that are the best fit for your field. Plus, unparalleled agronomic support with products and services to unlock yield potential and improve crop performance from planting to harvest. Ask about our financing options to help you get more from every acre and lead the field. Visit your local Nutrien Ag Solutions branch or go to nutrienagsolutions.com.
They say there's a secret to growing a great crop. At Nutrient Ag Solutions, they beg to differ. It all starts with a strong foundation, and when it comes to fertilizer, there's no question that Titan XE drives dry fertilizer performance. They've been unlocking the potential in every prill of dry fertilizer with biocatalyst technology for over a decade. Visit lpi.ag/Titan or contact your Nutrient Ag Solutions crop consultant to drive your crop's potential today. Farm Service brought to you today by the Michigan Wheat Program. Wheat growers registration is open now for the Wheat Program Summer Field Day. That's going to be Wednesday, June the 14th, down at the Plant Pathology Research Center at Michigan State University. That's at 3735 College Road. Field day starts at 8:15. Breakfast includes research plots and variety trials. And of course, lunch will be served as well. For more information and to register, just go to miwheat.org. Well, I think Gary Kaufman had himself a pretty nice weekend, from what I understand.
Well, if you say so, Terry, sure, why not?
Yeah, why not? Hey, we had a great time in Frankenmuth on Saturday afternoon. I want to say all the preparation for the Bavarian Festival went as planned. And what was really neat is we had the opportunity to judge the Bavarian Princess contest this year. And we want to say congratulations to our ladies. Dylan Abke is the princess, and Danielle Rummel and Ella Smith are on the court. So we wish all of them and their families the very best, and the Bavarian Festival coming up here in a few days.
Yeah, we'll look forward to seeing them in the parade on Sunday for sure.
Yeah, Cody Harris was quite a personality there.
Well, that is true. Very true.
And I'll let him explain all that on Wednesday if he's going to be around. We'll have a chance to talk to him on that.
Yeah, for sure.
So the markets, let's get down to the business. What's going on?
Well, we had positives across the board overnight and early this morning, but that has changed to all negatives across the board, unfortunately. But we did close on the positive last week. For the week we were up about 3 cents on wheat and nickel on corn, and about 15 on beans, with a nice strong close on Friday. But we're taking it all back right now, unfortunately, Terry. So currently we have cash wheat down 2 at 582 on the white, 532 on the red. New crop also down 2 at 592 on the white, 542 on the red. Cash corn is currently down 13 at 561. New crop is down 6 at 475. Cash soybeans down 8 at 1304, and new crop down 7 at 1112.
Is all this stuff going on out in the Far East have any kind of play on our markets right now?
Well, I mean, there's always world markets to watch, but I think right now, Terry, it's pretty much a weather market. I mean, we've had some scattered rains across the Midwest over the weekend, but price action it's really gonna hinge on forecast on who's gonna get what when. It's dry pretty much a lot of areas, and then this afternoon we're gonna look at the crop progress report. We're gonna look at some of those figures. And then towards the end of the week here on Friday, we got a WASDE USDA report coming out at noon. So those numbers will all be anticipated as we move through the week. So,
and usually a lot of these reports, especially the government report, when it comes out the first part of June, they have a tendency to swing the markets in different directions, don't they?
Oh yeah, definitely so. I mean, it's it's just like in a way, it's kind of like the weather sometimes as the forecast changes and the numbers change. They are both market movers for sure. So,
well, I guess so. You have a great day, Gary. We'll talk to you again soon.
All right, sounds good. Thanks, Terry. You as well.
You bet. As far as what's going on the Board of Trade, Jonathan, right now it looks like the corn July contract is down about 11.5. The September contract is down about 4.5. So we're talking 597.25 on the July. September is 531. Soybeans on the July down 6.25 at 1346.25. The August contract is at 1257.25. That's down 5.25. Wheat is showing a little bit of a positive move, up 1/4 cent right now. July contract at 619.25. September, though, is down fractionally. We'll call it a half at 631 and a half. We'll take a look at the Mercantile Exchange a little bit later on in our midday report at 12:30.
All right. Market report today has been brought to you by Schaefer and Beerline. Are you ready to upgrade to a new Ram truck for your family farm? Now is the time to order your new Ram 15, 25, or 3500. So you should see the folks at Schaefer and Beerline in Frankenmuth, the Great Lakes Bay's certified ag dealer. They specialize in all models of new Ram commercial trucks and vans. Ordering is now the way to go. You can buy with confidence from Schaefer and Beerline in Frankenmuth since 1852, where family and service sells cars. Also by Thumb Bank and Trust. They've been making agricultural loans since 1895. Farming today continues to offer challenges that are very demanding. Thumb Bank and Trust helps you stay up to date on industry trends and trends of your operation. Thumb Bank and Trust, now with 13 locations throughout the Thumb and the Great Lakes Bay region. Thumb Bank and Trust, where relationships are built on trust.
Who do we have up next?
We're going to head over to Yo and Yo Accounting and say hello to Eric Sawatsky. Eric, good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
Hey, not too bad. Eric, I spent all this time doing the tax stuff after the first of the year. And I figured by the middle of April, whenever it was, okay, you get this stuff taken care of. You got to write out the check and cry all the way. And then you get an income tax notice.
Yeah, it's definitely not unheard of this time of year. It's kind of tax notice season for us. We hear and see of a lot of them. I guess the first thing I would say is when you receive a letter from the IRS, especially this time of year, don't panic. Many times, a lot of those notices are generated by the IRS computers, and they're doing matching of some sort, either between documents they've received, a W-2 or a 1099 or others. And there's a difference between what they have in the computer and what actually was filed. Sometimes it's just miscalculations that happen on the IRS's part, but many times it's just coming from a computer. So the very first thing is don't panic. Second is if it's not clear to you what they're pointing out on the notice, get in touch with your preparer or CPA. There are rules and things that the IRS computers aren't always going to be able to decipher correctly, so they might generate a penalty. I mean, like for one example, I see a lot of farm returns. The farmers have different rules with when they need to file and pay to avoid penalties, and the IRS computers aren't always great with sorting that out. So a lot of times all it requires is a response letter back to the IRS, and many of those things can get corrected. Sometimes it might be a document they're missing or something like that as well. So a lot of times it's pretty well resolved with just a response letter and some information. If they are correct, though, there are ways to be able to get some of those penalties and interest resolved, pay the tax if it's due. And there is something out there called a first-time abatement as well. So if you've always paid timely, always filed on time, sometimes you can get those penalties and interest waived using a first-time abatement method. So don't panic. Talk to your preparer. Find out if it's legitimate or if the IRS is incorrect, and those things can be dealt with. It's not the end of the world, and you're probably not going to jail.
Well, I guess you bring up a really good scenario here. It's always a really good idea, especially if you're itemizing and you've got a business and you're doing a bunch of different things like that, to get a preparer, because having to deal directly with the IRS is not exactly a good way to start your day, if you know what I mean.
I agree. I mean, not just from the expertise they bring, but like you said, dealing with this type of thing. Because what I see a lot of times is taxpayers will receive these notice and they'll be like, I owe $200. They write a check and it's done. And many times they really didn't owe it. And once that's done, it's really tough to get the money back from the IRS. So yeah, it's much better to have a experienced preparer, especially if you're you've got a small business, you're working, a farm business, anything a little more complicated, definitely I would recommend that.
And one thing too, I was always told the IRS does not call you.
That is very true. Yes. There are a lot of scams going on out there, people trying to pretend they're the IRS. So unfortunately, those scammers tend to prey on older people quite a bit, where they feel they can get them in a panic on the telephone. So yes, if you get a call from the IRS, that's very likely not legit unless you've already been corresponding with an agent or something like that. They will almost always send a letter. They don't send emails or text messages usually either. It's usually a letter form, and then you'll have had a lot of communication with someone before you'd receive any other type of communication from them. You'd know if you're in an audit or something like that. So yeah, look for those form letters. Anything else is probably not legit.
Good advice. Eric, you take care. Have a good one, okay?
You too, Terry.
All right. Eric Sawatsky with Yo and Yo. We'll take a break and then we'll be right back.
Dairy Dew products started out with a single concept, turning dairy manure into high-quality compost to make all-natural, affordable, easy-to-use products.
Dairy Dew compost is blended with chicken manure, gypsum, and other natural ingredients to make a huge difference in your yields as you introduce health back into your fields.
Layer Ash Blend and Layer Ash Blend with Gypsum are some of the best-selling Dairy Dew compost blends for soils on both organic and conventional farms, starting at $71 per ton.
Morgan Composting has now developed organic granulated fertilizers for mid-season side dress and powerful liquids like Kelpful and Humic Blaster to give growing plants the boost they need.
Call a soil health expert at Morgan Composting today for advice on the best compost, granulated or liquid amendments for your farm, or visit dairydew.com to learn more.
Plants come from healthy soil comes from Dairy Dew.
Farm Service brought you today by the folks at Freeland Bean and Grain. The planting is pretty much all done, but now we're getting into the nitty gritty. Post herbicide application season is here, and the folks at Freeland Bean and Grain have a great selection of products from SureCrop and Nature's that are going to help you increase your yields. You just get a hold of Vic at Freeland Bean and Grain. He's a certified crop advisor, and he will assist you with scheduling your needs or scouting your fields. And right now, it's really important to scout the fields, especially to check insect infestation. Insects need water too, and they're going to go after anything that tastes good and is wet. So it might be a really good idea to get a hold of Vic today at Freeland Bean and Grain and scout those fields. Freeland Bean and Grain, serving you since 1983. Serving you is their business. I think we've got Jerry Samolsky on the line.
We do. Jerry Samolsky from Bay Landscaping Garden Center. Good morning, sir.
Good morning. Hey, guys, I don't want to be king of the obvious, but water, I can't believe how straw brown some of these lawns are. And that's fine. They can go dormant. But as far as your plantings, they don't want to go dormant. So you want to keep them alive. And again, watering slowly and deeply, because newly planted plants, those roots are down 6 and 8 inches. And just to sprinkle the top of the ground doesn't get down there. We had a person come in, they lost about 6 plants that were planted a month ago. And 99% of the time, if you use a plant within the first month or two, it's watering. And she swore she watered every day, and she probably did, but it was just a misting on the top. So the leaves don't need the moisture like the roots do. The only way you can get moisture to the leaves is get it to take up through the root. So soaking to the base of the plant is really, really important.
Jerry, thanks a lot. You take care. Have a great day, okay?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
All right.
In his last will and testament, Robert has bequeathed to his only heir and devoted caretaker 1/3 of his house, 1/3 of his truck, and 1/3 of his beloved dog, Mr. Bo here.
Excuse me, I'm a little confused.
Don't settle for a fraction of what you deserve, especially at harvest. Yield your best with Veltima fungicide's proven plant health benefits and revolutionary application flexibility.
1/3 of a dog. Right.
Get everything you deserve with Veltima fungicide. From BASF, always read and follow label directions.
Do you have a yield monitor in your combine? Do you print off a pretty picture every year, but you don't know what to do with it? Why don't you have PC Ag Solutions analyze your data to help you make profitable decisions for the upcoming season? We can help you analyze your data from your planter, sprayer, or combine and compare it to your soil types and nutrient availability. Anything from the planting date to your speed, population, and variety to elevation, drainage, and in-season applications. We can help you make the most profitable decision on your farm. Call us today, 989-868-4444.
From the Premier Kitchen and Bath Gallery Studios, WSGW, Saginaw, Bay City, Midland, WSGW FM, Carlton,